So now we would like to invite you to the closing element of our agenda. Leadership is the key topic of the second day of ABSL Digital Forum, and we have gathered distinguished guests that are experts in and authorities in this topic. This is because we recognize how important it is to have a good leader and of his significance for the whole company.
To close ABSL Digital Forum, we have composed a group of experts on leadership. They are all vast experience and are either by their roles or through the projects they supervised. We do hope you will enjoy the panel discussion titled Real Leaders Are Forged in Crisis. To moderate the discussion, we chose one of our own good leader, one of the founding fathers of ABSL, Janusz Dziurzyński, ABSL board member and director at Accenture Technology Consulting. Janusz, we are thrilled to have you today with us.
Hi everyone, I'm equally excited. No, actually, I'm more excited than you are. I hope you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Brilliant. This is my, I also hope you can see me.
We're working on this.
Yeah.
We can see you now, so it's okay. Go ahead.
Wonderful, super. Indeed, leadership and leadership. This is an exciting topic of today. In fact, we started yesterday with the thrilling report and the number of business operation continuity topics. But today we are talking more how to make it happen and what is the aspect of the leadership. I couldn't be happier to be given the opportunity to introduce distinguished panel and ask them some provocative questions. In the end of the day, what really counts for our people, for our businesses, for our operations, for the continuity is you. These are leaders of the sector. These are distinguished leaders with vast experience, and we're gonna probe you about this lead statement. The idea behind this panel was triggered by the article from Harvard Business Review by Nancy Cohen, and the title was exactly the statement that the real leaderships are forged in leaders are forged in crisis. However, we know that crises like this, these are double-edged swords, and I will be delighted to delve into this with the panelists of today. Let me introduce Zofia Dzik, member of Supervisory Board at CCC and a distinguished leader in a number of different boards with a vast experience. Ania Urbańska, who is a conducting financial crime compliance site leader in Poland for Standard Chartered.
Hello.
Excellent, we can hear you. Kasia Zawodna-Bijoch, a good friend of ABSL, a business unit president at CEO Skanska Commercial Development for Europe. Kasiu?
Good afternoon.
Brilliant, we can hear you and we can see you. Jonathan Burry, managing director and head of Warsaw office at Goldman Sachs. John?
Hi.
Wonderful. And Jeroen Tiel, regional managing director, Poland and Eastern Europe from Randstad.
Good afternoon.
Brilliant. We can see and hear everyone. Lovely. Let me start straight on because for such a great topic, we don't have enough time. I guarantee you we could continue for a full day. The statement in the article that I referred to from Harvard Business Review gave a couple of very interesting insights, but especially one drove my attention. This is about aspects. In order to be a real leader during this crisis and be really coming up of this from strength to strength, you need to do two things. That's what we see in the article. Number one, you need to be brutally honest. And number two, you need to be giving a credible hope to your organization. So once you state the facts, because nobody is trying to lie here, this is a crisis, it's a tough situation, and you as a leader need to give this forward as a statement stating the reality. But immediately after that, you need to bring some credible, and credible is a crucial word here, a credible reason to believe that out of this, thanks to you, to the leaders, we can get out of this even stronger. And I would ask you distinguished panelists to comment on this statement at the very beginning. If you could, at the beginning, introduce yourself really quickly as leaders, that would be brilliant. So why don't we start with ladies? Zofia, can I ask you to comment on this in the first place, please? Zofia, can you hear us?
I have a very heavy storm here, and I don't know whether I can be heard well. I wonder if I can be heard well, because I have a very heavy storm here. Can you confirm that you can hear me? I will try
doesn't
to
reach to
connect.
that. Let me try to switch the gears. Anya, why would I turn it to you for your comment on this initial statement, please?
Sure. Hello, everybody. So I have to be very honest. I don't like this statement of being brutally honest. It's a necessity of real leader. I think leader has to be authentic, but should have mainly calm the situation, find out the facts, and manage people, manage the organization through the crisis. So in order to that, you don't have to be brutally honest. You have just to be honest, stay where we are, and by understanding the crisis situation, because in every crisis situation, the biggest concern is to find out what crisis is about and what to do to lead people, lead the organization through the crisis. So once you understand where is the problem, what to solve, you need just clearly communicate to people where we are, but without any brutal truth, just truth, and give them trustful and well established information. What are we going to do about that? And make decisions. I think that the key role of the leader, not manager, but the leader, is to drive people through the change or drive people through the crisis. And I think we have done it all over the place, especially in the organization I am in, that we have managed to calm the situation, drive people through change, drive people through the crisis, and make them feel safe and make them the good. What we need to do, we have to make decisions. That's key. I always say that it's better ask for forgiveness than for permission. So trusting ourselves as leaders, knowing our experience, we are able to determine what is good for our people, what is good for the organization, and then just walk people through that and make changes, make decisions, embed it, and properly communicate in a calm manner, because people do not need more stress than they have right now. They need information and confirmation from our side that we are in control of their lives, we are in control of their jobs, we are in control of their work and well-being situation. And I think we are quite well embedded here, at least in Warsaw, from that perspective.
This is super insightful. Would you like to comment? Maybe you have a different opinion. Zofia, we have you back. The storm is over, I hope.
No, the storm is still there. That maybe I will continue and take over after Anya if I can. And I will relate in a way to the storm, because we can actually recall that when we go to the seashore in the sunny day, we dress differently, and if we face a stormy weather, then it's good that we should be also equipped for that. And actually, it's the same situation as we are facing today in so complex and volatile environment in which we are operating. Today, leader must have the ability to move quite freely and flexibly through different styles of the leadership, from directiveness to empathy. And I believe that this sentence, in a way, is summarizing all these styles, because by being brutally honest or being honest, it doesn't mean just being blunt, but to secure the situation, the company, the people, It means to being prepared to come with a certain plan and to give the credible hope. It means that you are addressing the fears of the people and acknowledge the needs for the certain moment, and you are not able to do it if you are not moving along this scale. Jim Collins was saying that the good leader is actually combining the realism and belief. And I think that this phrase that you have started our conversation with is, in a way, summarizing it. There's also a saying that if you don't fill the pit or the well, you are not able to make your people drink. And in a way, we are facing a kind of a test for the leaders today, to what extent they actually make the well full, and they are able to be resilient, to be agile, and to move from different styles, from style to style, presenting different abilities depending on the situation and needs.
On the statement, which I truly appreciate. Let's move to the third lady, Kasia. Would you agree with one of these, or maybe you will bring your own reading of that statement about brutal honesty and also ability to give credible hope? Please go ahead.
Yes, I do agree. I do believe that running business in these challenging times seems like driving in a heavy rain. You drive the car slowly but surely, staying very focused all the time. At the same time, you can hardly see the road ahead of you. So a turning can appear at any second, so you need to be ready to change direction. And it's exactly this way that we need to behave in this time of coronavirus. As a leader, we need to navigate point to point through the turbulence, adjusting, improvising a bit, and redirecting as the situation changes and the new informations appear. You need to learn as you fly, act surely, explain why you are doing what you are doing. And if there is such a need, you also adjust. I think it's important that you also admit that you don't know always all the answers. You lead and inspire people through difficult times, giving them honest and open communication. So regarding where you are as the organization, and also sharing the plan to go through that, pointing long-term vision. So that's for me what the real leadership is in a difficult times.
Than from the regular times, but it stresses some of the elements of the leadership that you mentioned. Jonathan, what about you? How do you read that sentence, and would you agree or disagree? Disagreeing is fine. I know we have majority of female in the panel, but hey, let's try to be provocative here. Go ahead, John.
I'm not sure I can actually. I would tend to agree with the statement. I think that. And look, every crisis is different, and I think different crises require different types of leadership. But I do think that the one that we are living through, and we have just hopefully gone through a chunk of, requires particular leadership skills around empathy, understanding people. People feel very concerned about not only their livelihoods, but their health, their family's health, and everything else. And so, if you want to motivate and drive people forward and try and deliver on things, then you have to be able to understand them to be able to pitch that. And so I think the fundamentals of being honest with your assessment and your understanding of issues, and then trying to paint a vision for where you're going to go, even if you don't know the answers. And I think this is probably the most important thing, which is this is a type of crisis where nobody has an answer, and you can. I follow, obviously I'm from the UK originally, and I follow the UK politics a lot. And, it's very difficult to at the political level, to manage through something like coronavirus. And And sometimes you just got to admit that and, make positive steps forward and keep moving forward. And so, my general kind of, learnings over many years is I think, teams will follow you into and through very, very tough situations as long as you are honest with them in terms of laying out what the problem statement is and what you know and what you don't know and where you think you're going to take them. But you need to show light at the end of the tunnel. If there's light at the end of the tunnel, people will follow you to that light. But if there isn't light at the end of the tunnel, then that's when it becomes a lot more difficult. So that credible target, that credible vision is an enormously important part of that.
Hello, I think I was disconnected for a moment, but I'm back. Can you hear me?
Good to see you again, Janusz.
Yeah,
it wasn't long.
Thanks a lot. It was a moment, but now I do have a story. Okay? It's moving around Warsaw. Jeroen, we haven't heard from you. Please go ahead and tell us briefly your reading of the statement and your initial thoughts. Please go ahead.
Right. Let me try to combine a few things of the other panelists that they brought forward and some own reflections. Well, first of all, if you talk about that real leaders are forced in a crisis, I think that a crisis gives the opportunity to show what you have learned and gives the opportunity to show your learning agility, because with these kind of things it changes day by day. And I like the way one of the panelists says it's like driving a car in the rain, because you don't know what's going to happen ahead of you. And I think that's crucial. It's not only about yourself, but it's also about your team, and it's also about the leadership around you. And when you talk about a crisis like this, there's one thing that is really different, and I think we all faced crisis before, but in this part, health is connected, and personal health. We come into a situation where some people are really afraid, or even come up into a situation where themselves or family or relatives are impacted by the corona. So this gives a totally different dimension, and it also gives a different dimension in terms of how do you lead. And especially in these cases, you have to make sure, in my point of view, that you're as honest as you can be in terms of no sugarcoating. There's no way that you should try to pretend that you know the answers if you don't. You should not pretend that you go in a direction if you're not sure. It's all about, taking it step by step, communicate massively. And by that, I mean that you communicate to your whole company. You communicate with the leadership teams that have to translate those messages and have to make sure that they adapt to it. And this is something that if I look back at my company and where I work and what is the level of success, if you might say so, then it's all about the communication and not sugarcoating, and really, really being clear about every step that you take and the why behind it. That doesn't mean that everybody has to agree, but in this kind of crisis, people really would like to know, okay, what is the choice? What is the direction? Why do we do it? And how do we take it step by step? And in this case, forged in a crisis, maybe yes, maybe no, but from the perspective that you are capable to put your experience into practice, I think this is an enormous amount of energy that you can put into your company, and an enormous amount of trust that you can put into your people to get out of this crisis. So from that perspective, I agree what the panelists have said, and I can see that, we will be different on the other side of the crisis, all of us, that's for sure. Back to you, Janusz.
Excellent, very interesting, and a very complementary picture. But let me try to get you closer beyond these big statements to the audience and ask you personally, because you, Jeroen, you said something very interesting. You need to take care and get your energy back to the people. But in order to do that, first you need to make sure that you are in a good health, and you need to have your own energy source. So question to each and every one of you, very briefly, in one sentence, where do you take your energy from? And let me revert it completely. Jeroen, why don't you start?
Okay, that's a very good point in terms of your energy. First of all, I get an enormous amount of energy in terms of the responsibility that I feel in terms of everybody working with us and for us. I get energy in terms of making sure that every small step and every thing that we do will help. And like you said, you have to take care of yourself. And in my case, I have never been sporting so much as I've been doing the last couple of months. First of all, it was training and fitness at home. And when we could go on the streets again in a normal way, I've been running miles and miles in order to make sure that I feel healthy, that I feel strong, and that I can also radiate the energy into the company. And I think that's important. It's totally okay and fine to show your vulnerability. It's totally fine to show that you don't know all the answers, but it's also important that you show the energy and the willingness to move forward and get ourselves together out of this crisis.
Jonathan, where do you get your energy from?
Well, I'd echo what Jeroen said in terms of the role and the responsibility drives a lot of energy, I think. And also for me, exercise, I've cycled more with an internal bike and external bike, and I've lost weight over the crisis, more than I've ever done before, if that makes sense. But I also think it's important to actually shut out the negative side of the things that take away energy. And it might seem strange, but one of the benefits for me is I moved to Warsaw only in September last year, and my Polish is non-existent, to be fair. And so I haven't really been able to follow much of the news. And I've been following kind of English-speaking websites, things like that. But what that means is I don't follow and I don't get the day-to-day negativity or the day-to-day commentary or the day-to-day arguments that can kind of fill up your life and act as that drainer on you. And so it's been quite a nice bubble in a way, because I've been watching what's been going on in other countries, and particularly the UK, with a slightly distanced kind of interest, and obviously been staying as close as I can to what's happening here in Poland, given I'm based here and my team's here and the office is here. But at the same time, because I don't speak the language, I don't get all of that influence. And so, that's actually been quite a good way in which to kind of not kind of experience that negative energy that can sap it out of you.
Yeah, brilliant. This is one of these examples where not speaking a language actually can help you. And I completely agree that sometimes not following all the news is a good practice. I 100% subscribe. Ladies, where do you get your energy, your motivation from that you can later on pass it to your employees and to your organization? Anya.
To be honest, I always was very energetic, so I take it just from me. But being very honest, I have a fantastic team which I have built here. They are very big support. They give me fun. They give me challenge. They give me a lot of interactions, which is natural way of building my power and my energy to all layers within the organization. But to take care about myself, I'm a mother, so I need to be always energetic. I'm sure most of you who stayed home with children, who had to do homework, etc., you just take your energy from your life. Otherwise, you will not be able to manage. So I had to manage it by myself, but I'm used to that. And I have a small dog, which gives me a lot of power, a lot of energy, a lot of fun. And he enhanced me to do some walking. And of course, I have eaten a lot of chocolate. I have to be very honest during that time. And it gives enormous amount of energy to me.
Chocolate is good. I 100% subscribe. From sports, from isolation, from the bad news. I love this one. From children, from family, from walking, from dogs, etc. What about, and from internal powers? I think this is also extremely important, and I completely agree. Kasia, what about you?
Yeah, so maybe I can just simply repeat what has been said so far. So for me, it's like people around me. I'm a lucky one that my job is my passion. I'm like a true believer in a sustainable world. So having a chance to contribute to that through the daily things I'm doing, it gives you a lot of energy. But of course, during the last couple of months, it's been very demanding for all of us leaders. So for me also, physical exercises, walking in the forest. I'm trying to sleep have a good sleep every night. And during the weekends, I'm doing a gardening, and I'm taking a lot of fun out of that, having a nice vegetable vegetable garden forward for my first own vegetables. So yes, I'm also a mother, so having kids, dogs, it gives you a lot of energy. I'm trying to really isolate myself from like all the bad news, trying to focus on the things that needs to be done and the good impact that we can have with what we are doing.
Excellent, which is not always easy. Zofia, how about you?
Actually, we'll start from the genes. That I'm also pretty lucky that I'm coming also from the energetic parents. But besides that, I believe that the first is actually to know and constantly ask yourself a question: who you are, to define what's for you important. I have a feeling for many years that I went on the way of living with the purpose, which I also managed to summarize with my model of coherent leadership, showing that human is slightly more than just the brain. It's just the soul and the emotions and the body. And actually, the more you are driving the car, having all the wheels well prepared and well balanced, I think that this gives you enormous, the living with purpose and a meaningful life gives a lot of energy. And coming one by one, I start my day for many years with minimum 20, 30 push-ups and some other simple exercises. I track the deserts, and I like this hygiene for the brain, that you have to have the zone when actually you make yourself a bit distance from the thing and allow yourself for thinking and for the reflection. I'm a very happy wife for more than 20 years, 3 times mother, and having a great career, great team. I take also a lot of energy from the people and from the relationship, hugging. And I believe also one of my also favorite rituals, routines, because I'm also a great fan of them, and I think that also they are a source of energy, that I finish every day with this gratitude ritual, that with all my family is gathering in the evening for the few minutes, and everybody is actually thanking for something for the certain day. And I believe that this is also giving a lot of energy of the community, but also seeing that in every situation you can find something to thank for.
Wow, this is super precious and very unique. We got to know you guys so much better through these testimonies. I really appreciate for being so open and honest. But now you took care about yourself. This is brilliant. And we have variety of options. Now you are back to the office, either physical or maybe remote. And now it's your time to shine and basically transpose it to your people. Communicate well, show the balance, reassurance, and continue leading them and reassuring them of their jobs, of their purpose, and all that stuff. How do you do that? I would like to have at least one specific example of what you did back to your teams, back to your leadership teams, and back to your people when, in the real business context, you decided to do something special in these times. So, very specifically, let me start with Kasia. Why not?
There are several things that prove to be very good and working very well. But I think what proved to be great for us is like a great culture and values that we are living with, and this inclusive team spirit and doing things together. We are much closer to each other than ever before, even if on distance and even if only technology is connecting us. But we are working truly as a team. We react fast. We are very active to each other, and I think it helps a lot. You can see a lot of emotional intelligence. And what makes me like extremely proud that our value, care and health and safety, proved to be absolutely embodied in whatever we are doing. We are having over thousands of people on our sites in Central and Eastern Europe, and all of them are up and running. No one got infected, and so we have no delays. And that's what makes me really, really proud of being decisive, being careful, being tentative to people. We have introduced several new channels of communication with organizations. So we have town hall meetings, we have fika. It's like a Swedish coffee break with a senior leadership team that we are having. That it's less formal meeting, that people can ask questions. We are discussing several things. So yeah, that's maybe I will stop.
In that culture, and this is wonderful and good to know that nobody got really sick or injured. This is lovely. How about the others? What did you guys specifically do in this situation, maybe that you're especially proud of? Jonathan.
I think one thing that we've done here is communicate extensively. And, from the moment that people walked out the door, to work from home the next day, we had 100% of people working from home. One of the benefits of being in a kind of knowledge function and knowledge industry is that we were able to get people up and working from home immediately. But probably one of the things that we've really tried to focus on is communication across all different things. So one thing that we did very different, was we had a number of town halls, virtual town halls that I led to explain the situation, explain our approach at all different stages, and then that is then morphed into a weekly email which we kind of send out, just highlighting people where we are on this journey. Highlighting changes externally in terms of kind of government restrictions, for example, plus how the firm is responding, what we've been doing from a charity perspective, but also, from my perspective, how I'm dealing with stuff. Because I think, again, people are very personally impacted by this. They have friends, they have relatives, they're reading tough things in the news. Suddenly being locked up at home, maybe if it's with your family, that can be traumatic. If it's not and you're on your own, that can be equally traumatic in a different way. And so sharing, my journey through it, and also the kind of management team's journey through it, and saying some of the things that we're doing and some of the things that are working for us and some things that weren't working for us, that has been kind of a big component of something different. Wouldn't normally get to that level of kind of personal detail on emails that go out to, 750 people. But, that's how we've been trying to kind of share and also point that we're all in this, we're all working together, and, also point to some of the things that we're doing positively. So, we're now back in the office. We've probably got about 15% of people back in the office, and we're in a kind of encouragement phase for that. And so we talk about the benefits of being back in the office. I think we've forgotten some of those, to be honest. We are also kind of linked on the let's work from home, and we've kind of got into that habit, and we need to get back into the habit of challenging ourselves and getting back to the office potentially as well. So, that communication, I think, has been critical, both in terms of supporting people's mental health, some of the initiatives that we've done, whether it be morning huddles across the teams to get them together, end of day huddles, drinks, virtual drinks, all those type of fitness sessions. On the web, there's a Goldman Sachs choir, which has got a whole load of people from the Warsaw office taking part in. Lots and lots of initiatives to try and link people and bring them together. But, within a part of that, we had a very specific, role for the Warsaw office to lead in that respect as well.
Excellent. So the importance of communication couldn't agree more, and the staying close to people. And I think you mentioned a lot authenticity, which is really important. And you mentioned this number of times. Anya, what did you specifically do to demonstrate and help people to go through that as a leader, please?
I think the most important for me is to say that we always talk about values, and in Standard Chartered we have our values: better together, doing the right thing. And I think in early March, when all this situation started to change, we have shown live that our values are live, because we immediately switched into work from home within a week from 20% to 90+% without any impact for business. And right now, from that time, whatever we did is to keep our people safe, happy, engaged, and well communicated. So definitely bringing equipment to people's house, taking care of their well-being, and special attention to stay connected in different way that in usual BAU huddles, work, progress, etc. It's about getting how are they, talking more one-to-ones, having more individual discussions that will, especially those who are alone, bring them much closer to us and find out what are the problems. That was definitely something I'm very proud of. And by that time, we have realized how many talented people we have in non-CFC area, but people sing, people write poems, people like excellent photos, people do yoga, teach lessons. So I think it was a very good way to find out additional skills we wouldn't know if we wouldn't have a crisis. But I think it got all of us much closer in the end.
Excellent. Creativity is forged in the times of crisis too. Jeroen, what about you? What about your example, please?
I have a very practical and simple example. I could talk a lot about all the communication things that we did, but I had a list of 150 leaders, the telephone numbers on my desk and in my phone, and from day one I've been calling them simply one-to-one. And in the beginning, it was really interesting to see the reaction, because the reaction was, well, the business is going in this direction, we're doing this. And then I said, that's nice, but how are you doing? And how does it impact you? How do you deal with the stress that you have dealing with this situation towards your direct reports? And this turned out to be an excellent example. And it was even singing around that, we could have talks. Sometimes it was 10 minutes, sometimes it was even an hour. Yeah, but continuously having this approach, day by day, I had fantastic conversations about all kinds of things. I learned a lot about all my colleagues about things that I didn't know before. And this was something that was really appreciated, because it also showed the care and the approach, and that nobody is in this alone. And I think that was a major upside of this very simple and very pragmatic approach. Just call all your leaders on a continuous basis.
Thank you so much. This is so simple and so practical, but also requires personal engagement. Lovely, excellent. Zofia, we are waiting for your example too.
I'm engaged in a number of companies and organizations, and of course, besides the obvious that I can summarize, like quickly establish the crisis teams, start the communication, even by saying that I don't know, I will come back tomorrow with more details. Being in touch, personal calls, plans, and first of all, to secure the people and the assets of the companies. But specifically, I can refer to three things. One of the projects that I have funded 10 years ago, I have funded an Academy of the Leadership for the Schoolmasters. My idea was to train the Polish school directors on the level, let's say, INSEAD for the Polish school directors, and make it affordable for them with the same level of lecturers. And quickly, I have already 500 graduates. And one of the things that that I did, I quickly called for a kind of Zoom meeting to train them and to give them the platform to share quickly the best practices between the schools. Everybody, I heard that some of you have got kids and children on different level, and the schools were quite lost in this situation. For them, even the situation that they can't be alone as a schoolmaster in the situation that they call, they can establish the regular team, that they should communicate regularly with the parents, with teachers. Everything was new. This is one example. Two others more relate to the not to work, but to the socializing. That I consider the people need the energy they are missing of being together. And one of the ideas that we brought, we made the online contest for painted egg for Easter. and it was excellent. We discovered such talents, amazing talents. And we had started also online campaign of Tulimy, from tulipan on the in Polish it sounds nice, like to we cuddle each other, or we hug each other, and encouraging people to live, even for the neighbors, since we can't hug anyone close to us, not visit maybe our elderly parents or our family, just make this small symbol of caring, maybe to your neighbor, leaving a tulip at the door with maybe safe note, all the best, or whatever. Yeah.
Okay, this is great. I mean, I'm afraid that hugging while distancing might not be so easy these days, but obviously these
Yeah,
are good,
but
very
that's
good,
why
very good inspiration.
no, but that's why I was exactly saying that this was, since we couldn't hug, yeah, that we were encouraging for this symbolic leaving, for example,
Yeah.
a flower at the door, just to give the sign of love and caring.
Brilliant. I'm getting the signals that we need to wrap up, unfortunately. I could continue for many minutes, if not hours, especially that with the leaders who are definitely showed us how to forge themselves and how to forge their organizations to the greater, even in such difficult times. Let me close it by asking all five of you for the final statement, something that you wanted to pass to the audience in the topic of and the statement that intrigued and inspired by the article, but the real leaders are forged in a crisis. Let's give one sentence, maximum two sentences to each and every one of you. Anya, would you like to start, please?
I think that the final sentence will be to empower all of us to not be afraid and make decisions on the benefit of our people. And in the end, the people are key. So whatever we do, we should put people first, because that's the basic, that's the foundation. That would be my final statement.
Thank you so much. Jonathan.
I would say lean in, get involved. Leaders don't sit on the sidelines. They get involved. They try and improve things and add value. Even if you don't know the answers, you can help solve things and help bring conclusion to issues, and you can set a vision. And and if you're honest with that, then people will follow you and work with you to do that.
Thank you so much. Kasia.
Yes, I fully agree. Be yourself. Listen to the others. Be decisive, and also empathy, emotional intelligence. People in those times are struggling, are stressed. So having a chance to really try to understand them, you are able to get things done together, building on your strengths. Yeah.
Thank you, Kasia, so much. Zofia.
I would say to be courageous. Take care of yourself. Don't forget to widen your perspective. In the special forces, there is a special sign that some of the leaders are doing at every activity to broaden their perspective. As Kasia was saying, remember that you are human first and manager second. And that human is definitely something more than just the brain. And don't forget
Brilliant.
to sharpen your saw, as Covey was saying.
Like Covey was saying, absolutely. Last number 7, absolutely. Jeroen, you are the sweetest end. Go.
Okay, thank you for that. As we talk about leadership, I would say dare to be the captain by showing authentic and genuine interest in your people, sailing the storm together. That's how I would summarize my journey in this crisis up to now, and that's what I would recommend others, and I could only underline that. Thank you.
Brilliant. I don't know how for you, but for me, the storm is gone. The car is going through the rain. The sun actually started to shine. I couldn't be more happy right now. Thank you so much for this great discussion. And I really encourage everybody to deeply take from this perspective. Is this extremely valuable. Zofia, Anya, Kasia, John, and Jeroen, thank you so much. I'm passing back to the studio. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.